this is an important story. I want to mention this. Mississippi has, or had, a lifetime ban on certain felons. I'm not sure which crimes that you could commit that would, after you served time, you got out, you were not allowed to vote for the rest of your life. Doesn't matter if you were 20 when you committed this crime. Doesn't matter if you were 80 when you committed the crime. You would not be able to vote for the rest of your life. Mm. Now, a lot of times this is challenged. It's been challenged in the past under like the 14th Amendment, right? Not getting due process. A panel of Fifth Circuit judges, according to the Washington Post, ruled 2-1 in favor of plaintiffs who were looking to have their voting rights reinstated, writing that the section at issue in Mississippi state's constitution, quote, ensures that they will never be fully rehabilitated, continues to punish them beyond the term of their culpability requires, and serves no protective function to society. So one of the ways of being rehabilitated is to have full rights as a citizen, to be able to vote on who is representing you. And the Mississippi state constitution, which denies that right to vote, and we should say, this comes from 1890. Folks, I'll give you 3 seconds to catch up with me here, but this is the pushback to Reconstruction, right? Yeah. And once the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment passed, then these slave-owning states, they roll out constitutions, they go to the Supreme Court. Jim Crow, ladies and gentlemen. In so excluding former offenders from basic aspect of democratic life, often so long after their sentences have been served, Mississippi inflicts a disproportionate punishment that has been rejected by a majority of the states. In the independent judgment of this court, informed by our precedents, is at odds with society's evolving standards of decency. Where are we going here? This is not about due process. It is about cruel and unusual punishment, which the Constitution has a prohibition against. This is a standard which changes with time. This is also an important concept to understand. 200 years ago, maybe not voting was like, all right, you can't vote. You got a long laundry list of things, you can't vote. You're not even a free person. You can't even own property. You can't go eat at a hotel counter. Well, now our standard of what is cruel and unusual, and the unusual part, never mind the cruelty, the unusual part is that you do something and then for the rest of your life, your key function as a member of a democratic society is removed. That is certainly unusual, and it's certainly disproportionate. And
it undercuts the notion that imprisonment is about rehabilitation, because once you leave prison, you should, first of all, people in prison should be able to vote. But when it comes to this law here, it's essentially saying that you have a black mark on your person for the rest of your life.
It's a cancellation.
And you can't vote, right? And you can't vote to change your circumstances. And like the reason that it's racialized in this way too is like you have to look at what became felony convictions as time went on as well, which included drug war stuff, yep. Right? And like when people talk about the criminal justice system and mass incarceration being a reproduction of racial hierarchies and racism, this is an example.
And the bottom line is, Eighth Amendment says excessive bail, you cannot require excessive bail. You cannot require excessive fines, nor cruel and unusual punishment inflicted. I don't know if they find it as unusual or in terms of excessive fines. Also seems like You're paying with your rights there.
If I was a Republican, I'd say stopping people from voting is unusual. It's like the main thing I do.
The provision applied to felons convicted of crimes that included murder, bribery, theft, and perjury, among other crimes. We have not seen the use of the Eighth Amendment. I mean, maybe it's happened in the past, but again, it's usually under the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. If this decision holds, and I imagine it may go to the Supreme Court, it would affect 30,000 Mississippians who have served sentences for felonies. I mean, that is, in a state like Mississippi, I don't know that it'll make a massive difference. If you could get all of those people to vote, I don't know. But it's going to be interesting because this may open up opportunities. Because
in other states, I mean, and Mississippi's not the only state that has this kind of disenfranchisement law.
DeSantis has been fighting to keep theirs.
Well, this is permanent, right? But what about 30 years, 20 years? Like, I mean, if the Supreme Court lets this stand, that becomes the sort of like the floor, if you will. Mm-hmm. And then the question becomes, can you raise that bar in terms of like how long, when you strip a person of their rights when they have presumably paid back their debt to society. That's what that's the way that we look at jail time, rightly or wrongly. They have paid back society their debt owed to society. When can you reinstate their rights and it not be cruel and unusual punishment or excessive? So we'll see. But a really interesting case, and we'll see what happens to it. But that just happened, I guess, I don't know, a couple of days ago. So we will see more on that.